This episode of the ZuLoo Poodcast is sponsored by ZuLoo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at ZuLoo.com.
Like they were all toilets. There weren't like chairs and one toilet.
Right. Yeah. It's just the room was situated so you go in and you could sit along the wall.
I'm facing Quinn.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like I'm sitting here, you're sitting there, we're sitting there, and we're conversing about Aristotle and Plato while we do our business. And what was cool about it is they had running water where it would carry it away.
Wow.
Pretty high tech.
That is pretty high tech.
So they're sitting there and they're like, did you hear, they're just talking about things that are happening. And then like someone's like, did you hear about Socrates? Like I can't imagine.
Welcome to the ZuLoo Poodcast, where we talk all things poop, toilets, and sanitation. Through insightful news, impact stories, and quirky humor, we aim to discuss and highlight the critical role toilets play in whisking poop out of our lives, the impact toilets have, or lack thereof, in the health and wellness of humanity, and what ZuLoo is doing to help solve the current global sanitation crisis.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the ZuLoo Poodcast. We're excited to give you another awesome look into the world of sanitation today. Darren and I sat down with one of the former presidents of PSAI, Portable Sanitation Association International, and Veronica.
It's a long tongue twister.
It's a long tongue twister.
If you say it fast 10 times, portable sanitation.
I think it might make me dizzy.
Yeah. Just go PSAI for short.
PSAI for short. And Veronica, who I think does some like event planning and communication.
Well, she's now she's
their executive director.
New executive director.
Yeah.
So, which is super cool because she has been in the business for a long time. She talks about how she grew up in the business, her family, and now she's taking over the helm. So
it's a great interview. We'll be listening to that later on, but first, let's jump into our snap polls and our news minute. Darren.
Snap poll.
Okay, snap poll. You ready? Are you ready?
Can't wait.
So, let's say you're watching an awesome movie, right? Think of your favorite movie, right?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not your favorite movie, but one you've never seen before. You're super excited about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the first time you saw The Lord of the Rings or something like that.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you've got to go, really, really bad. Do you just go and run and get it out of the way? Or do you hold it and just in pain and suffering, and you can't really enjoy the movie so much, but you got to see these scenes. I mean, what do you do? Hold it or go?
There's so many there's so many variables because there's like how far into the movie are we? But like
so many technicalities with you guys.
I think generally though, if it's a movie I haven't seen before that I'm like, I want to see, I'm excited to see, I will hold it because I don't want to miss.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss.
I don't want the gap. I don't want to be like, what happened? I don't want to lean, like I want to experience it, the whole thing. I respect the art.
Totally.
So
you're going to hold it to the very end, like it's a 3-hour.
It's extended edition,
version.
LOTR.
Wow. We're good. Yeah.
And you're halfway through and you got to go. You're just going to hold it because you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss anything, you just hurry and go and get it out of the way.
I'll hold it unless
you're
it's
just
like,
hold it.
I'll hold it unless it's like, an emergency. But
okay.
like I would rather hold it and just.
Well, it could become an emergency and the very climax at the end. You're just like,
yeah. Well, that's how much, that's how loyal I am to the filmmaker.
Okay.
To the art. I'd rather shart.
But personally, I just go like, oh, I gotta go. Okay, I'm just gonna get clued in by the person sitting next to me. Oh, what happened?
Yeah.
But at least I'm comfortable. I'm not like miserable, like, peeing in my pants.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But
that's
just me. I go more often anyway, but
I'm probably gonna hold it.
You don't want to miss any like.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for that movie that I think just came out with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum and Brad Pitt.
Daniel
Radcliffe. I'm really excited to see it. So I'm envisioning me being in the movie theater watching that. And I think
You're just not going to want to miss any second.
No,
of it.
no, because
what if I miss Brad Pitt?
well, yeah, imagine that, Darren. Like you're sitting there. I think I need to go to the bathroom. I think I really do. But then Brad Pitt shows up. Are you leaving when Brad Pitt shows up?
No,
Well, I think
when Brad Pitt, you respect.
You
I
respect
know.
Brad.
No, I think when Brad Pitt shows up, you're just going to pee in your pants anyway.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good
You
point.
know, so
Yeah.
you're damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It's just going to happen.
It's just going to happen.
Yeah, with Brad.
Just maybe have a bottle, and just kind of,
Yeah. And I'm used to that. I've peed in many bottles, and they
just
got
eat
the
your popcorn really fast, and you've got a
bucket.
container right there, and it's dark. It's pretty dark. You could probably get away with it.
Yeah, and you could probably get a refill on that bucket later as well.
Yeah, just wash it out, recycle it, reuse it.
So I think
I learn so much from you guys every time. A little bit more insight.
and if we've learned anything, it's anything for Brad.
Anything for Brad.
Pitt, and that's how it is.
Yeah, Kelsey, when are we going to have Brad on the podcast or the podcast?
Yeah,
Man,
when's that going to happen? Come on,
we're in chats. We're in chats with Brad.
you're in chats.
Yeah, we're.
No, that was Bill
Okay,
Gates.
yeah.
You were chatting with Bill Gates on the email I saw.
I
You
that wasn't-
chat with lots of famous
Kelsey
people.
But maybe you keep the Brad Pitts. You don't CC me on those. You just keep those to yourself.
Kelsey thinks if you use Outlook at all that you're messaging Bill Gates. She just sends emails to anyone. It's like, Bill's got to be seeing this.
Hey,
Yeah.
Bill.
Hey, Bill emailed us first. We were like, we're just responding. We're like, okay, Bill.
Like, oh, Bill, yeah. Wait in
But
line.
Brad's never emailed me though.
Yeah,
I always
haven't
send.
gotten anything from you yet.
I always
Brad.
like his
Still?
Instagrams, like, hey, that's awesome, heart, but
See, I really
he
want
doesn't
this.
like,
He doesn't know he's
comment-
missing.
comment
Like,
back.
I really want this to be a storyline of the podcast. It's just our campaign
Yeah.
to get Brad to notice us.
But hey, you know what?
yeah.
There really are instances where just everyday people have these like social media relationships with celebrities. Like
Yeah.
that's like, and it's like specific. I watched on Netflix Bad Vegan. No? Okay. It's a docuseries.
Bad vegan.
Bad Vegan. Yeah.
Wow.
Anyway, the point is that
The
one of the
vegan part.
key like people they feature never actually met Alec Baldwin, but was just like super good Twitter buddies with Alec Baldwin. He was just like a nobody.
And now that
And-
person is dead.
Oh, well, he's not dead, but
Oh.
he is kind of a crazy guy.
Well-
Not Alec.
Well, both are true.
But feel bad for Alec and his recent events.
Could you please recap them for us?
No, I'm not going to recap our Alec
I think
events.
there's
But I'm
ongoing-
saying is
there's
you got to
ongoing-
hop on
Yeah.
Twitter, your TikTok account,
Yeah.
get
So you're
Brad to
saying-
notice
Yeah,
you.
there's
This
ongoing
is on
litigation.
you.
There's ongoing in litigation and investigation, so we can't comment.
Oh yeah. This is
On that story.
yeah. We can't get into that.
Plus, we have to get into the news
The
spotlight.
news section, yeah.
So, and this
the
news
news?
spotlight is kind of twofold. One is the article that we're going to link is they discovered a new toilet in Turkey. I think it's around 2,000 years old. It's how it revealed how the Greeks, of course, the Greece used to encompass part of Turkey,
Mhm.
back then, and they unearthed the public restroom, and in fact, I was just returned from Greece yesterday, and in Athens they do have an unearthed toilet, and it's a public restroom, and it's basically these probably 10 by 10. It's about the size of this room,
Yeah.
and they basically have holes on the exterior. They have these, and we'll show a picture. I can.
Well, we'll link the article. That,
We'll link the article, and
oh,
we'll
but
show.
you
We'll
mean
show.
of your.
Yeah, I actually shot a little video clip, and maybe we can play it while I'm talking about it. But anyway, the room is they have about five seats around the room, and so it was more of a social setting. It wasn't like everybody has their own stall. You were just sitting in an open room,
Like they were all toilets. There weren't like chairs and one toilet.
Right. Yeah. It's just the room was situated so you go in and you could sit along
I'm
the wall.
facing Quinn.
Right.
Mhm.
Like I'm
Using
sitting
the
here, you're
bathroom.
sitting there, we're sitting there, and we're conversing about Aristotle and Plato while we while we do our business.
It was-
And what was cool about it is they had running water where it would carry it away.
Wow.
Pretty high tech.
That is
pretty
pretty high tech.
So they're sitting there and they're like, did you hear, they're just talking about things that are happening. And then like someone's like, did you hear about Socrates? Like I can't imagine that kind of conversation. Where
they're having those high level discussions about the meaning of life and the universe.
They're having the kind where you have to you're just like clenching your whole body together, you got like your head in your hands, and you're like, yeah, the Plato's The Cave story was pretty interesting. But,
well, I imagine at some point, if you wanted a little bit of privacy, you just turn your body around and have your back facing.
Don't look at me. No one look at me.
I am in my private space.
Well, then you have to hang your toga on the wall, so
they had a fun society,
but they did have separate women and women though. So
yeah.
See, maybe that should be what they do at music festivals.
Maybe
they just have just a little field they box off, and everyone just looks at each other, and that would definitely make it go fast.
That would definitely make it go faster, right?
Yeah, because
either by social discomfort of having to sit across from your fellow festival.
You walk into like one of those old Greek toilets, and then you sit down, and then your dad walks in. You're like, okay,
yeah.
Don't need the. It's like how's the wife? Like I don't need to go into that.
That's a different accent you just did.
Sorry, there's no continuity.
Where's your Greek accent? I want to hear your best Greek accent.
Malaka. Like that's a Greek word.
Okay.
Malaka.
If Aristo.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Channel my big fat Greek wedding.
What are you doing?
If Aristo.
We together? I don't know.
Wow. That's better than I could do. I'll tell you that. I'm not even going to try. So instead, let's just hop into our interview with Veronica and Jeff of PSAI. Enjoy. Well, Jeff, Veronica, welcome to the ZuLoo Poodcast. We are just so excited that we could connect with you today and line up our schedules this month and this day, right? To be able to get to know each other a little bit better and talk about PSAI and the world of sanitation. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We're so excited that you reached out.
Yes. Oh, man. Yeah, we were bummed last month, when we couldn't just quite align, but you had the conference going and of course, just amongst other busy things. So yeah, just grateful that again, today worked out.
Yeah. How did the conference go? Was it late last week, right?
So it was mid-February and it went just fantastic. Last fall was our first in-person event since COVID. And then in February, we had our first trade show and convention in person since COVID. And we had incredible turnout. We were so pleased we were able to meet safely. And we also were able to celebrate our 50th anniversary as an association together.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I remember the last time I met you guys, I was at the Houston conference, and I think it was 2019, and that's when I last saw you guys, and that was just an amazing event. I don't know if I expressed that to you guys afterward. You guys had invited us to come and participate in that, and I was just so impressed. Just the facilities of some of those portable sanitation operators. I guess in Texas they do it all big, right? That's right. It was super impressive, the barbecue, and then to contrast that to the, who would have guessed that the very next year it would have been 100% virtual, no barbecue, no rides on the pumping trucks or anything like that. But anyway, I remember that Houston event was fantastic. But thank you for having us.
Absolutely. We're going to be back in Texas this fall. We'd love to have you again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Where in Texas are you going in the fall?
We'll be in San Antonio, and that's for our annual Nuts and Bolts Education Conference. So we'll have another one of those cool site visits, probably where you had the barbecue and lots of educational networking opportunities.
That's awesome.
Yeah, even though we weren't in person during COVID, it didn't slow us down. And I think we've just been planning and growing and ready to come back bigger and better.
Yeah, I get your newsletter, and I know you guys have been talking about current issues, obviously COVID, obviously, fuel prices and all of that. Jeff, maybe you can talk about how you guys have navigated this in the past little while.
Well, the thing about the PSAI that I love, I'm retired. I still work with the PSAI, but we're such a giving organization. We're always willing to share and help each other. And as far as our most recent virtual roundtable, it was about fuel prices. And I think we had the largest number of people we'd ever had at one of those, and just a lot of sharing information. It's really good. It's like, don't make the same mistake that I made. Let me share with you, this, that, and whatever. So I always say we're like a big extended family. So it was hard not meeting physically in person for those 2 years. But as Veronica said, both Myrtle Beach in November and Reno in February were just outstanding. Great to see everybody.
Yeah. A lot of our listeners may not realize, that how maybe fuel prices would impact a porta potty, but maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, most portable restroom routes, it depends on where you are, of course, but an average route's 150, 200 miles a day that you drive. Combine that with a truck that gets, probably 8 or 10 miles per gallon, as big as they are. You're buying diesel every single day, and it really does have an impact. Coincidentally, besides the fuel impact for the operator, the manufacturers, the price of plastic went up. Anything that involved oil, so we're having an increase in the cost of our units that we have to purchase, and then an increase in the fuel itself. And a lot of companies are sadly right now having to put on a temporary fuel surcharge just to kind of recoup that, and hopefully it'll go away if prices go back down again.
Right. Yeah, especially if you've got to service units in a remote location, or I know as far as COVID is concerned, we had a portable sanitation operator on our last podcast out of Denmark, and they were talking about how the pandemic affected a lot of events, like marathons or public events where you had things in outdoor spaces where obviously they were canceled or those weren't happening. What is your membership? How has your membership had to deal with it with those kind of issues?
Do you want to take that one, Veronica?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was just going to say, Veronica, just to backstep one moment, her grandfather and father were involved in the industry, and she came on board as our executive director a whole 1 week before our convention in November in Myrtle Beach. And I'll tell you, just doing a fabulous, fabulous job. So as far as answering the question on the servicing, I'll be happy to do that. But she's the one with the ideas and the plans. So we'll learn a lot from her today, I'm sure. But in terms of COVID, a broad general statement, most of our operators here in the United States had about an equivalent year revenue-wise as they typically did before COVID.
Okay.
I was rather surprised by that, because you're absolutely right, Darren. Special events just basically went away. But what happened is the once-a-week services on the job sites became 2 and 3 times a week services due to COVID, social distancing, that kind of thing. All of a sudden, where we used to rent sink stations just for special events, all of a sudden we're putting sink stations on construction sites for the people to wash their hands. We have these things called sanitizing stations, which are basically a long pole with 4 hand sanitizers around the outside, about 4 feet off the ground. All of a sudden, we're delivering those, or our members are delivering those to banks, to schools. Not doing any construction, don't need portable restrooms, don't need sinks, need some of those hand sanitizing stands for people to use before they come in and out of our establishment. So just incredible. Yeah. Like I said, being retired on the sidelines, 2020, from a revenue standpoint, was basically a normal kind of a year. All the revenue just came from entirely different places.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. That's great to hear.
To add to that, Jeff, I mean, the portable sanitation industry, it became very clear, even though we may not have gotten some of the press that healthcare workers and fast food workers got during that time, but we were absolutely an essential industry. And providing portable sanitation in areas where we didn't need it before, especially for over-the-road truck drivers, for example, a lot of the rest areas were being closed and bathrooms that they depended on were shut down. And so being able to deliver to these sites that previously didn't need our services to help accommodate people who were still working every day. So just like Jeff said, we didn't really slow down, just our locations and frequencies sort of changed.
Mm.
Yeah, that's so interesting for me to think about. I'd never, knowing I'm pretty new to just the sanitation space. And so not seeing how far reaching that is, right? And I'm sure that maybe those are some things that when the pandemic first hit, maybe PSAI wasn't thinking like, oh, well, all of a sudden these needs are going to happen. And so I see that maybe developed along the way and you were having to make a lot of adjustments and figuring out, where is the best place to put this? Who's top priority here and who's not? And those can be tough decisions to make.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. As far as the, as far as like, different trucks, like different restrooms being closed or, establishments being closed, I could totally see how that's, that would impact, people that relied upon those restrooms. And when we talk about, it seems like, we're always talking about hygiene and trying to, keep ourselves healthy and all of that. I mean, obviously hand washing and hand sanitizing, all that just goes, no pun intended, hand in hand with, with sanitation and yeah, I could totally see how that, plays into what your membership does. Maybe you can talk about. I think maybe a lot of our viewers aren't familiar with the PSAI generally. Maybe you talk a little bit about the history of the organization and what you do for your membership.
Absolutely. So, Portable Sanitation Association International. Like I said, we just celebrated our 50th year as an association last month. But essentially, we exist to create and maintain higher standards for our industry, to spread awareness and educate the public of the importance of portable sanitation, and then internationally to help discover ways that we can help provide sanitation to these areas that don't have access. We're talking about how COVID impacted the industry in the United States. Some of these places that are suddenly without their regular sanitation, so now the portable sanitation industry steps up. But there are still billions of people in the world that don't have access to any kind of sanitation at all on a daily basis, let alone COVID. So that's part of our mission too, is to sort of set the example, set the standards, and provide the education and support to help make sure that everyone has access to clean and healthy, safe sanitation. We do that in a couple different ways. We have the front end, I would call it, and then more industry-specific back-end education. So we're always working to educate the public. In the United States, that looks more like improving the image of portable sanitation. As someone who grew up from childhood in a family that operated a portable restroom company, I can tell you middle school is tough. a lot of people, they're looking for any kind of joke they can make, But I think I have great character now.
I'd imagine you'd be the most popular person in high school, right? No?
Oh, by the time I hit high school, absolutely. All that charisma I was developing in middle school paid off.
There you go.
Truly, I think in our country, because we do have such easy access for the most part to indoor plumbing, portable sanitation, that our industry is rather taken for granted. Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand how much work and effort goes into that and may not be appreciative of what we offer. So we try to educate people on the value of this industry, the importance it brings, and also to draw awareness to how fortunate we are here to have this kind of access. Because again, so many places in the world, literally over 2 billion people don't have access to any kind of portable sanitation. So in our biggest membership is representative of the United States area, although we do obviously have international members. So here in our home base, we're trying to elevate that industry image by educating the public. Looking internationally, we work with partners. That we're not the only association out there in the world. There is Portable Sanitation Europe, Portable Sanitation Association India, Oasis in Ontario works with the sewage industry, the World Toilet Organization. These are all other associations that we try to partner with and help boost their mission and find ways to benefit our members in the industry. To take it one step further. So education internationally looks a little bit different. It's not so much about how do you perceive portable sanitation, but education on how this will help the overall health of a community. So it's a little bit of a different approach there.
Right.
So that's public facing. And then behind that, we also, PSAI, we're really proud to have created and maintain the national standards for portable sanitation for our country. So that's through an association called ANSI. They own national standards for a lot of different industries. But basically what that means is that our association organizes professionals within our industry, and we create all of the best practices, the highest level of expectations for people in the portable sanitation industry. And that's to ensure that when someone is getting a portable unit at a construction site or a school or wherever it is, that the workers that are actually delivering and servicing those units are doing so safely, that they have the appropriate equipment, and that unit is also clean, well maintained, and safe for the public as well. And it's an undertaking we're really proud of. We also, go ahead, Darren.
I was just going to ask, what was it like maybe 50 years ago, Jeff?
So I'll speak to that.
Go ahead.
I can speak to that a little bit, and then I'm going to invite Jeff to step in. Fun fact, Jeff has been a member of PSAI, board member past president for a long time, but he's recently, as a volunteer, been recording our entire history over the last 50 years and the history of portable sanitation, which goes back before that. So he
nice.
wants to chime in on this too.
Sounds like there's a book coming out. I'm excited about that.
Keep your eye out. It's going to be a very nice publication. We're excited to get out into the world. but yeah, so before our standards, it's not to say that it was necessarily a Wild West, but the portable sanitation industry really isn't that old. We've been around for 50 years, but Jeff, you'd say maybe 70 years or so that portable sanitation really hit the scene?
Yeah, it really started during World War II when they were building ships. They had actually had pump trucks at that time. And so they came up with the idea about let's have an outhouse, but let's put a bottom on it and let's have it pumped out on a weekly basis. So that really, like Veronica is saying, it started at the end of World War II. And the units were made out of wood. So if you needed 20 units, you went out back and you built 20 and then you delivered them where they went. So the industry itself really didn't get going until probably the late 70s, early 80s. They came up with making fiberglass portable restrooms, which could actually be manufactured so that you could make more of them, put more of them out in the field. And then the big game changer was in the 80s, early 80s, when plastic came out. Then you can mass produce them. You need 100, you call, and 100 get delivered. You don't have to build them yourself. So as Veronica said, the industry really is fairly new in terms of the general public and wide distribution of portable restrooms.
Right. It would be interesting to look at the history of that and see what those wooden World War II era, essentially as an outhouse that they put a tank underneath it and it kind of makes sense, right? Maybe, I don't know if the Navy was behind that or not, but yeah, certainly as materials have progressed, and I guess, and you've always sort of had to rely upon some kind of pumping truck to handle that. And you talked earlier about the fuel costs and all of that is associated with that. What do you see in the future as far as portable sanitation? I know there's always innovation going on. I know at the conference that I attended back in Houston a couple of years ago, they had some really cool, and not only we talk about the portable toilet unit itself, but when you talk about other essential items like the hand washing stations, the hand sanitizing stations, all of that, I don't think a lot of people. I see. It seems to me those are becoming more and more prevalent and more essential. People are more accustomed to seeing that, or they're demanding that as well. What do you guys see in the future as far as that goes?
Jeff and I had a really fun conversation about innovation recently, and we kind of had two approaches. And Jeff, chime in whenever you like. On the one hand, there's a lot of innovation happening for people who are actually working in the industry. That's where you see the innovation, is how things are handled on the back end. So, for example, we have a member of our association that recently started bringing in 3D printing as a way to create replacement parts for portable restroom units. Units that are no longer in production, but that are still in service out in the field. And that's something that the general public will never notice. They'll never know. But, it's a big cost-saving expense for a lot of our operators out there. You see innovations about how portable restrooms can be cleaned more quickly, and new technology and vacuum pumps and that sort of thing. And those are things that the public will not notice, but that we see happening regularly. For the public, really, you kind of hit the nail on the head. What we're hoping to see is not so much new technology, but innovation in the way that we think and approach portable sanitation. So just like you said, and part of this, who would have thought we would have said this, but we have to give some thanks to COVID. Part of that would be seeing people always ordering hand washing stations when they order a portable restroom. It's so interesting to think when you go into a restaurant, for example, you go to the bathroom, the sink is right there. It's just expected. Well, obviously you would wash your hands, but so many folks will call up a portable restroom company. They'll order several units, but probably whoever they're speaking to on the phone will ask them if they would like to also rent a hand wash station. No, they want to save costs. They don't need that. We can't force that upon them, but that's part of what we're working on with our education courses and our standards and these best practices that we're trying to get out, not just for our operators, but for the benefit of the public, to help them understand you're going to the bathroom. It's the same whether it's portable or indoor plumbing or whatever. You still need to be washing your hands and keeping a clean space. So we're really trying to find innovative ways to educate the public on the importance of that. And another thing that we see that's really quickly grown in popularity in the States and in parts of Europe is the use of portable restroom trailers, actually. And we think that will probably have an effect on folks' images of portable sanitation. A portable restroom trailer is exactly what it sounds like. It's a mobile unit. You can pull behind a truck. It has a couple restrooms inside, usually has sinks inside as well. But these are the type of things that you previously would only see at weddings, that sort of thing. But that's why people like them. You step up into one of these portable trailers, and it's just like walking into a lovely 5-star restroom at a restaurant or a hotel or something. Some of them are incredibly elegant. They don't all have to be. But it's a way that makes people who are used to access to indoor plumbing feel a little more comfortable with the idea of portable sanitation. And of course,
it's a better user experience, right? Because there's the flushing water, and then there's the sink, and it just feels like a normal restroom. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So that they don't, there isn't that preconceived stigma with that sort of presentation, but those sort of trailers are becoming more popular, and they can accommodate more people at once. And there's pros and cons to them, but yeah, with the trailers, most of those are flushing units, and you can order a regular portable restroom like you're accustomed to seeing that also flushes. But those are a little less common, but that's something we're always talking about is how can we make people feel more comfortable using portable sanitation. Jeff, do you want to chime in on any of that?
No, I think you hit it right on the head. At least here in the United States, the variety of products is expanding. One thing that we're seeing too, and Veronica had brought this point up as well, which is a very good one, is that it's just trying to get basic portable sanitation to the developing countries of the world. As portable restrooms become more accepted here, a lot of our manufacturers, reps, they're creating territories in various parts of the world. One of the things that PSAI did a number of years ago, they did a calculation about how much portable sanitation saves the amount of fresh water. If you're in a community and you've got only X amount of fresh water, do you want flushing restrooms or do you want drinking water? And the figure they came up with, it was quite complex, but the bottom line is they're saying that portable restrooms save 125 million gallons of fresh water per day. And, I did a little bit of work on that myself not too long ago. And, if you're, every time someone flushes the restroom, it uses 1.5 gallons of water. These portable restrooms, they're out there for a whole week. You start with 5 gallons of water, and typically, at the end of the week, you may be pumping 10 to 12 gallons of waste. But, that's a lot of people that have used that restroom and saved that 1.5 gallons every time that you flush a restroom. So I think Veronica's point's a good one. We're expanding here in the U.S. in terms of options, but internationally, we just want to get the basic portable restrooms out there to help some of the people that don't have access to sanitation.
Yeah, one of our previous podcasts, we talked with a developer of a female urinal, Lappy. I don't know if you've heard of them or not, but as far as bringing innovation to when it comes to gender equality and bathroom access, they designed a portable female urinal that allows for because obviously you've got long lines in front of the women's portable restrooms, and I've seen that happen at events where you have. If they're doing it right, they'll have if they have 10 units, 7 of them will be women designated and 3 men. But they had sort of an innovation around just a simple female urinal concept, which I thought was pretty interesting too. But anyway.
Well, I'm curious to know a little bit more about how PSAI operates internationally in regards to public education of sanitation issues and actually getting toilets into, more rural spaces. What does that look like for PSAI?
Yeah, so part of our history, when we actually started, we were just PSA. There wasn't an international component to our association until the 90s. Is that right, Jeff?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's when we first started bringing in the idea of being more of an international association. So relative to our full history, that piece is new. It's budding for us. The way we try to tackle it now is through, again, education and also supporting the other associations and organizations that are already out there. Thinking internationally, the globe is a big place and no one association is going to be able to tackle it all. But each of us are becoming experts in our own ways and have had our own experiences and can work together to complement each other's work. So, for example, PSAI has a strong partnership with the Ontario Association of Sewer Industry Services, OASIS. And We try to offer benefits to each other's members as well. So members of their association also has access to our training programs, for example, which we've tried to customize to fit standards in Ontario. That's one of the biggest challenges that we are tackling as we look to expand even more internationally is when it comes down to the education, the best practices, the things that have really elevated and served our association here in the US. It's a different process for every single country. What are the governing bodies there? What are the standards already in place that affect sanitation? What are their OSHA equivalents, that sort of thing. So it's not exactly starting from scratch, but pretty close to it when you try to look at each country. So we have to look at the partners that are already there, that are already experts, and slowly build from that knowledge.
And when I was at the conference, I went to, I think the first PSA conference I went to was back in, I think back in 2013, I was in I think it was in North Carolina at that one. I was really surprised at the number of international people that were there from Africa, there were some people from Singapore there. There were people from India there, just very much, you definitely had an international flavor, and for a lot of them coming to that conference was seeing best practices. Okay, how do they do it here in the United States? Where, I think you guys are right. It's a higher standard of expectations regarding hygiene, cleanliness, that kind of thing. Whereas, I've been to India, and even in a nice toilet situation, it's just you just don't have a lot of that infrastructure, and so or best practices, right, regarding servicing the unit. It's kind of like in some cases, I was running a scout camp when I grew up. Portable there was a porta potty there that was placed there for the whole summer, and I think maybe the operator, maybe it was accessing that scout camp way back in the mountains somewhere. Obviously, maybe not expecting that the scouts would fill it up so quickly. It's just very much a different experience. But anyway, as far as like the international focus seems to be getting greater and greater, and I'm super glad to see that.
Absolutely, it really is a matter of public health.
I was going to say, a good illustration of Veronica's point. Back in 2013, we had a board member who's actually from India. His name is Rajiv Kir. Rajiv, in 2016, actually started Portable Sanitation India. It's in its infancy, but it's kind of an inspiration where the PSAI is inspiring these other countries to start their associations and to try to raise the standards. So proud of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think
great.
As ZuLoo also expands, right? We're looking, who are those grassroots teams? And I sort of think that I see two sides of things. There are people who do a lot of, and organizations who do a lot of this like oversight. We see the issues, we hear the issues, we want to address the issues, but how do we do that? And then there are other groups who come in and say, we will do the dirty work, right? We will go into these communities. We will do the educational groups. We will oversee the community expansion of sanitation and helping people to not only understand the public health issues that surround sanitation, but also the upkeep of their units, how a communal versus a private toilet is different, and what the pros and cons are of those. And then also just like, what does this toilet look like? How do I use it? And of course, that extends into different toilet technologies and how those need to be customized per community. So it's amazing to just be involved in this big old world of sanitation and get to know more about who's doing what out there and connect together as a community. We are just about out of time, but I do want to give you, Jeff, and you, Veronica, an opportunity to say, if there was one message that you could send to our listeners, our audience out there, what would it be? What would you shout out to them?
Jeff?
I'll tackle this one first.
Okay.
No, I think the message is this industry. It's very, it's more of a giving, sharing industry. I came from a background of computers and IBM, and we were all, there was a big barrier. And I think in the portable restroom industry, we have to work together. We have to share information. We have to be good stewards of what we have, and we have to be able to give as opposed to just holding things tightly to us.
Absolutely. Just as we were just discussing, portable sanitation, it's a important, crucial piece of the bigger issue of public health. And everyone is deserving of sanitation, a clean place where they can have some dignity, and that's what we're working to provide. And we're also hoping to help people see the dignity and respect and hard work that people in this association, in this industry already do every day to provide that to people. So for me, it is about the education. And I just encourage people to really learn the impact that portable sanitation has and has the potential to have internationally. We're really excited for all the things coming next.
Yeah, definitely. Veronica, can you give us just a quick little information snippet about the Nuts and Bolts Educational Conference in the fall?
Absolutely. So November 1st through the 4th, PSAI will be in San Antonio, Texas, where we will hold our Nuts and Bolts Educational Conference. That conference will be a series of opportunities for members and non-members alike to network with each other, to also hear from keynote speakers, to hear from some of our panelists who will be tackling questions on hot topics in the industry, to give overviews of new innovation for people who are in the industry, trucks, cameras, technology, all of that. And the biggest thing that folks look forward to at our Nuts and Bolts conference is our roundtable discussions. This is where we go for a couple hours covering maybe 20 different topics simultaneously in a big room. And if you talk to any of our members, I guarantee they will tell you that they learned something at one of our roundtables that changed how they did business entirely. So we always look forward to those.
Yeah, I remember participating in one of those, and it was fantastic. The whole thing you said about the camaraderie, and again, you're in a room with supposedly competitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yet there's such a feeling of camaraderie and sharing that you really probably don't see in other industries, for sure.
That's absolutely right.
Well, thank you both so much for being on the show today. And we would hope to have one or both of you on again in the future to talk a little bit more about the issues in sanitation that you really love, education, history. I'm so excited to learn more. So we'll hope to.
We want to hear it. We want to let us know about the book, Jeff. We're excited about that.
We'll do.
Okay. Hope you both have a wonderful afternoon, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you both. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks,
guys.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Okay. Well, that was an educational interview for me. I'd actually never heard of PSAI before my interview with Veronica and Jeff.
Wow.
I think I knew that the company existed, but I'd never met anybody or really done any research. And
yeah, I mean, it's a really cool trade organization, and I've been actually following them for years. And like I said in the interview, I initially, when we were founding ZuLoo and we were investigating different business models, one of which was the portable sanitation. Mm-hmm. We had the idea of like starting a portable sanitation company.
Oh.
And so we went to the PSAI event. I couldn't get Chris to come along back then. I was telling him, "Okay, come on." And he's like, "No, I don't want to go."
He's like, "That's not my scene."
But as far as the technologies of portable sanitation, how it's evolved, and and the one I went to in Houston was just amazing. They've got just a huge, Texas operation with, 20 trucks and
wow,
just thousands of these portable sanitation toilets, and with barbecue. I mean, talk about eating on toilets. I mean, we were sitting.
Wow.
You're gonna need.
You're sitting there eating barbecue, and you're like, here's some barbecue, and here, try out our new high tech toilet system. And everybody's like, okay, and we're. Anyway.
It's really well thought out.
Yeah. If it can handle Texas barbecue, it's ready for the world.
It's ready for the world.
I know.
Just the one place I could see myself eating on a toilet is if you're having like some hardcore food like that.
Right.
But but the seating in the restaurant is already toilets, and you're like, what? Like, why can't it just be a normal chair? And like, trust me, you're gonna need this.
You're gonna want this.
It's gonna happen. So we're just preemptive.
That's a restaurant that has got you covered. It's got your back.
Mm-hmm. Just already at toilets for seats.
Even if their food is going to destroy you, you still feel cared
It's almost like
about.
those Greek toilets where you're just in a restaurant, everyone's on toilets, they talk and they're chatting, and then occasionally someone just goes quiet. And then they come back to the conversation.
All I'm saying is every ZuLoo Poodcast has a new enterprise idea for you, Quinn.
I'm trying to make money for this nonprofit. I'm trying to how can we grow the brand?
Yeah. Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I thought it was interesting. Just one side note from our interview was that Veronica had said, when somebody calls up and they request a porta potty, right, to come out, they always offer, do you want a hand washing station as well? And she said that before COVID, a lot of people would just say, no, that's, we don't want that additional cost, which is sort of like, you don't want a hand washing station with your bathroom. Seems like a no-brainer, but COVID really changed that for a lot of people. And so there are positive things to come out of, I don't know, this difficult situation.
I've used them.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm grateful for the hand washing stations outside of my...
It's a lot of fun when they run out of water.
Yeah.
And then you just have okay, and then you just walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it looks like somebody's run their car into it. That's always.
What?
Have you ever been? Yeah, like the hand washing station.
They've ran their car into it?
Have you ever been at one of the sinks that just looks like it's been destroyed, but it's still like semi-functional?
Yeah, it's like water's like crying out of it. Yeah.
But we're grateful that they're there. Yeah. Exactly.
I've never seen a destroyed one.
Oh, I have. Well, it's not like crumbled, destroy, but it looks like somebody's run backed their car into it or something.
The metaphor you're using, I'm trying to wrap my head around. So it looks destroyed.
Like it's it's dented. It's dented.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just was confused. It still works.
Yeah, it still works.
But it's just dented. Sad.
Yeah, it's just sad.
Well, if you see one that's dented, probably don't use it. Right?
Yeah, maybe call the service number and get that.
I'm not going to do that.
But yeah, we encourage you to check out PSAI, Portable Sanitation Association International's website. They've got a lot of great educational materials there.
Yep.
And they partner with a bunch of other organizations, including ZuLoo. So yeah, you can check that out. Before we go, I wanted to highlight this book. Good SH apostrophe. No, that's an asterisk.
Mm-hmm.
T. I don't know what goes there. But anyway, Your Holistic Guide to the Best Poop of Your Life by Julia Bloberger. Am I saying that right? And Ruse Neater. You were saying you were reading this book a little bit? Yeah, I think I read the first 2 sections. And it's awesome. They just talk about kind of like a good poop philosophy and also kind of a guide to
it's kind of like a little poop journal.
Pooping in public, different
pooping at your in-laws.
Different ways to manage your digestive system.
Well, part of their poop philosophy is that you can't really know what's going on with your personal health and well-being if you don't know what's going on with what's coming out of you. And so one component of this book is a little poo journal. So you're supposed to sort of track how you're feeling, how regular you are, what it looks like, what it smells like.
It sounds like therapy.
And then it sort of educates you on what healthy stool should look like. So
we'll put a link to this. We'll put a link to this in the show notes, and I recommend it. It seems like a good bathroom book.
Because
bathroom reading.
We don't want you just to poop. We want you to think, why do I poop?
How is my poop doing?
Yeah.
That's another thing. If we're talking about hygiene, you've got a pen and you're writing. Should you wash the pen?
Yeah.
No,
after you
go for it.
You're journaling about your poop. You can
dip it.
Dip it in some hand sanitizer.
Or in the toilet bowl. It's like ink. It's like a quill.
You could use the water in the back of the tank,
Yeah. Just stir it up.
Oh, well, we're almost out of time here, but I think that it would be a missed opportunity, Darren, to ask you about your recent Puerto Rico toilet disaster.
Oh, do we have time for that?
Oh,
do we have time for that story?
Give us a quick one.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll have to do it on the next podcast.
Oh,
okay.
Leave this is a teaser.
Yeah,
Listeners,
so
Darren's got
we'll plan on. I'll share that story.
Story.
It definitely is worth repeating. So, but yeah.
So tune in next time for some good Puerto Rican toilet details. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Again, visit our links in the show notes
below.
Email.
Send us an email. I know we get stacks of emails, but send us more.
They print out all of them.
Yeah, we're a little old school, but we do love to hear from you. So give this a share. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the ZuLoo Poodcast. Follow us on social media at our links in the show notes below. To learn more, visit our website, ZuLoo.org. If you liked the podcast, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. For even more ZuLoo fun, send us an email with your toilet stories to podcast@zuloo.com for a chance to be featured on the podcast. This episode of the ZuLoo Poodcast is sponsored by ZuLoo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at ZuLoo.com.